What's up? My name is TSC Tom, and welcome back to...
Well, howdy!
Ah!
Ooh.
What are you doing here? www.youtube.com/c/Amanda Hardman? And why did you have a southern accent? I thought I was the American one.
I've been taking a lot of inspiration from Miss Minutes from Loki.
Don't reference pop culture. You'll date this video to current month.
Oh, of course. As for why I'm here, I heard you're doing a video on book fairs.
How did you know that? I haven't even talked about it in this video.
So I figured I'd chime in on the topic. I have a lot to say, just, personally myself.
Well, okay, but I've already got a script written out for my own thoughts, so you're gonna have to wait for that.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm very patient. Also, don't mind the wardrobe change afterwards.
Okay. Anyways, let's get right into it. So, as I was going to say right before I was interrupted, school book fairs are a staple of many North American childhoods. At the ripe old age of elementary school age, it was always a magical time whenever the school book fair rolled into town. Going into the same old musty library you spent your entire school year in, and coming back to see it full of life and vibrant with the new books that you could buy to keep, it was utterly mesmerizing at that age. And a perfect way to indoctrinate capitalism into me at a young age. I myself could say that the purchase of the complete collection of My Zombie Goldfish certainly prepared me for loyalty to name brands destroying our modern society. School book fairs aren't like other book selling places. For one thing, these books are all targeted at a very specific age range, that being from elementary school to middle school, or whatever they're called in Canada. These books are pretty much laser focused for this market and are often exclusive to these book fairs. Nowadays, that usually means that a large selection of Fortnite, Minecraft, and YouTuber books are a constant mainstay of school book fairs. But back in ye old times of my elementary school days, that meant actually good books like Almanacs, young reader books, and among other things. There's actually a lot more variety than that, but those are the kinds of examples I have for in this script, so we're going with that. Anyways, this all makes for some weird and very entertaining pieces of what I hesitate to call literature. The first, and closest to normal, type of books that we're going to be talking about are ones that actually function as literature, aka narrative-based books. This ranges anywhere from Goosebumps to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and, in some cases, books like The Hunger Games. Ah yes, The Hunger Games, my favorite grade school novel. How cute and very easily digestible by elementary schoolers. Oh, who am I to talk? I read Warriors in 5th grade. These types of books varied in quality very significantly, and some got better as you aged, while others got way worse. I loved the Goosebumps series as a kid. And when I say I loved it, I mean I loved it. It was my first actual introduction to, and probably started my lifelong fascination with, horror. However, looking back on it, it hasn't aged super well.
Who are you? Peter demanded. Do you know our parents or something? She shook her head. A thin smile spread over her pale, slender face. You're in the book, she said softly. Her eyes stayed locked on us, as if studying us. Book? I said. I don't understand. We're in a book? I asked. You mean like a phone book?
Uh-huh. 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 Yeah, hold on just a second. The 90s called. They want their dated reference back. I bought a phone for this joke. However, in terms of actual children's horror, the Goosebumps series does hold up pretty well. There's a distinct difference between good horror and good children's horror, and neither are worse or better than the other. They're just two different things. And while they're both very effective, one isn't going to be good at doing what the other does. There's some exceptions to this, of course, like the movie Coraline, which functions as a very excellent example of children's horror that is still scary to adults. But for the most part, the two categories stay within their lanes. Goosebumps is still an excellent horror introduction for kids, as long as you can get past all the dated 90s references. Also, the intro for the TV show, it slaps. Another excellent example of narrative school alumni, yes, nice and pretentious, is a series about a grade school kid who suffers from delusions of grandeur, has a best friend that he mistreats, and through it all has to deal with the struggles of truckloads of homework, annoying classmates, and the general struggles of preteen life. Timmy Failure. What? What'd you think I was gonna say? Timmy Failure was written by Stephen Pastis. Pasta. Who also writes the comic Pearls Before Swine, which is, slightly less grade school appropriate. However, if you dial back the raunch quite a bit, the comic has a very similar sense of humor to Timmy Failure. It's dry, witty, and very much plays into satire and dramatic irony. It's also surprisingly well written for what it is. Essentially, Timmy believes that he is the world's greatest detective, and so he runs a detective agency called Total Failure Incorporated, which is co-run by his pet polar bear. Total. Don't ask. It's a very entertaining and very rereadable series, and I would seriously recommend it to anyone who's even slightly interested. Because as opposed to the Goosebumps series, Timmy Failure actually gets better as you get older in my opinion. And while I'm being honest, I'll say it. Timmy Failure? It's better than Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I know. It's structured better, the conflicts feel more real, and there's actual character development that lasts throughout multiple books, and it knew to stop after it ran its course. It's honestly just better in every single way. Having now angered probably every Gen Z and younger millennial in my audience, I want to talk a little bit about the Timmy Failure movie before we move on. I wasn't originally going to talk about this in the video. I was actually going to make a video all on its own about this, but I found that after I watched it, I didn't really have much to say about it. It's a pretty good adaptation. They change a lot of the details and they move stuff around, but all in all, it feels like the book. So there's a weird thing with Timmy having an obsession for hating Russians in this version of the story.
Portland is a city that is rife with crime, corruption, and Russians.
And besides a few other small issues, this movie is pretty good. Not much else to say about it besides that. 6 out of 10. The other type of books that was sold at these fairs were these almanac type things. Collections of interesting facts and figures, sometimes centered around a specific topic. You got your Mythbusters books, your Mythbusters ripoffs, your Ripley's Believe It or Nots, your Ripley's Believe It or Nots ripoffs. Man, National Geographic Kids doing a lot of ripping off. However, the ones that caught my attention when I was a wee lad were the Weird Facts books. I loved weird and interesting facts so much. And they were among the stragglers that survived many years of garage sales and book donations. However, not all are created equal. Take Weird But True, for example. A meteorite once hit a mailbox in Georgia, USA. Wow, that certainly is something that happened. Crocodiles sometimes walk on the backs of hippos. Cool. Our universe has no center. Okay. Now that's just blatant misinformation, National Geographic Kids. Someone has clearly not heard of the Oscar award-winning actor Sylvester Stallone's portrayal of Nanawe, aka King Shark, in the 2021 film The Suicide Squad. Look at him. Look at him! I don't really say this a lot about stuff, but Weird But True is weirdly inoffensive, to the point of being bland. I get that it's meant for kids, but they could have found some, actually interesting stuff to share. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just jaded. You grow up so fast, Now we get to the real stuff. Let me show you the king of weird fact books. Ripley's Believe It or Not, baby. As opposed to Weird But True, Ripley's Believe It or Not is actually engaging and interesting, and it actively fosters curiosity about the world. Plus, it has some really cool stuff in it. A Lego brick burger, a crab fashion show, a thirsty cobra. Look at him. He drinking. So the downside of this much wider range is that there is a lot more opportunity for traumatization. I don't recognize the head in the water. Do you? However, despite the awesomeness of modern Ripley's Believe It or Not, it would be intellectually dishonest of me to not at least touch on the less awesome parts of their past. While there was seemingly some good intentions on the side of Mr. Ripley in the original Believe It or Not comic, there was quite a lot of cultural insensitivity, shall we say. However, the modern version is quite a lot better, and there's very, very rarely any actual cultural insensitivity anymore, even though they do talk about other cultures quite a bit in these books now. It's just a lot more respectful and well handled. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And it's definitely a huge step up from Weird But True. Weird fact books weren't the only type of almanac that I collected, however. I also semi-regularly got this. Game On. By gamers, for gamers. Oh boy. The only one that I managed to hold on to was the 2016 edition. So I've got a time capsule from a time untainted by the 2016 election. It seems like so long ago. we were all so much happier. What a year! Xbox One and PlayStation 4 have seen a wealth of new games released, from Forza Horizon 2 to Little Big Planet 3, with plenty more on the way. Excited for Street Fighter 5? Pumped for No Man's Sky? Ooh, you may not want to mention that, that's a bit of a soft spot. Now, to be fair, the book does have some semi-decent game journalism in it. As for what that means for the actual quality, I'll let you decide. Did you know? Telltale Games is working on a narrative-led version of Minecraft, similar to its Walking Dead and Game of Thrones games. Interesting. But the real comedic gold comes from how this book does subjective lists. Top 10 funniest lines. The cake is a lie. Yeah, that definitely hasn't been beaten to death. Do a barrel roll. Yes, I too also laugh whenever the Star Fox Bunny tells me to do a barrel roll. It's a me, Mario. Okay, that one's actually pretty funny. I'll give them credit for that. But only because of the context of the game it's in. Being nice to the book for a moment, something that it does that is actually pretty cool is give shoutouts to fans and cosplayers. It's not a lot that you see that from big game companies, especially pre-2015. So props to them for that. Hey, look, it's Stampy. Now this last book is special. It doesn't really fit into any of the categories I've talked about so far. It's really its own beast. This book is the entire reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. Let me introduce you to hashtag prehistoric follow the dinosaurs. Oh my god. Now, what can I say, really? Look at it. What is there to say, really? The presentation speaks for itself. Let me just flip to a random page. Spinosaurus 1. And they just use the username Spinosaurus 1 and the Spinosaurus and the period gives you the period and everything. But the real attention grabber here is the bio. Yes, I'm deadly as they come. But you know what? I keep it low key. Why bring unwanted attention? I got a good thing going and I don't want to mess that up. Hashtag humble. Hashtag blessed. I have not seen hashtag blessed used unironically in 6 years. We've got this stock image of him of a Spinosaurus eating a fish, and it's got 700 loves, not likes, loves. And it says, looking good. Hashtag largest land predator ever. Yes, that means bigger than hashtag ahem, hashtag cough cough, hashtag tea something or other. But you know what? I'm not jealous. I'm not in this for the fame. The only comment is from the account of the T-Rex, and it just says, well put, my friend. You do a great job of showing how not jealous you are. Hashtag sarcasm. Who wrote this? And look at this other one. Neo Turtillo, and it's an Archelon. It's the giant turtle. It's the giant turtle. Look at it. Turtle. It says the diet is squid. Hashtag can I have this fried? Hashtag calamari. Who puts hashtags in their bio? The photo that's featured is literally a fossilized Archelon, and they say fell asleep on the ocean floor, and then hashtag I woke up like this, just in time for hashtag Fossil Friday. What is this? Here's another great one. Hashtag number one reptilia. It's for Hylonomus, which is, if you don't know, is the first land reptile. They treat him as some jock douche or influencer. I'm the first modern reptile. That's right. Lizards, snakes, and crocodiles all wish they could be me. Life was hard for a little while without my friends, but now I'm on land, and I'm living the good life. Hashtag dollar bills. Hashtag get money. In their pictures, you can see that it's 3 forest shots, and then there's just the most stock bling I've ever seen before, and just a pile of Benjamin Franklins. Hashtag moving on up. These new hashtag eggs with hashtag shells of mine mean that I can live on land full time. Now the only time you'll see me by the water's edge is when I'm hashtag catching some rays by the pools. Hashtag the finer things. Hashtag rich reptiles of Instagram. This lizard definitely has his own pump and dump scheme, I'm just saying. Giving it credit though, there is some actually unironically funny stuff in this book. For example, the page on Herosaurus, which for those of you who don't know was the first ever dinosaur, treats Herosaurus like an old person who just discovered what Facebook is, and it's really funny. Old man Herosaurus with 1 photos, 10 followers, and 0 following. The bio reads, greetings. Welcome to my official internet webpage. I am proud to be one of the first and oldest creatures called dinosaur. And the first photo just says hashtag greetings. Here's the real good part. There's someone with the username Dino Obsession that comments, I'm a 7-year-old and I just love dinosaurs. I would like to know what makes a dinosaur though. Why is a T-Rex a dinosaur but a Dimetrodon is not? And the response from old man Herosaurus, the Herosaurus, kills me. For some reason, my message did not send. I pushed the button, and instead of sending it, the message was erased. I hope this message goes through. Now I will type my message again. A dinosaur is the term that describes a large group of prehistoric reptiles with bodies that have many similarities. Like, doesn't that just seem like something that, like, your grandma would write on Facebook? I don't know if anyone uses Hey Facebook anymore that's my age. I don't even have a Facebook account. What am I talking? However, overall, this book just doesn't really work. There's too many hashtags in this, nothing feels cohesive. All of the images, besides the one made for the cover, are just stock CGI images and artwork of these creatures. It doesn't feel like any real effort was put into this. An intern could have made this in a week, that's all I'm saying. I don't know, man, it was weird and I felt like I really had to talk about it somewhere. Well, that just about does it for everything on my list.
Yep, now it's my turn.
Oh, yeah, you. Well, what have you got?
Oh, you'll see. Alright, so Canada, whether or not it actually exists is still up for debate, has also had the critically acclaimed Scholastic Book Fair. And over the years, I had my fair share of very weird books, and we're starting it off strong today with a book dedicated to Jennifer Lawrence. I think I bought this book because in grade 5 I dressed up as Katniss Everdeen for Halloween once, and for some reason, that just correlated to I need this book about Jennifer Lawrence. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of The Hunger Games. Look, I didn't hate it. It also wasn't the best movie franchise ever. I wasn't even a big fan of Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know why I bought this book. Now, sadly, I donated this book a while ago when I did a deep clean of the old books I had, so I don't actually have it in front of me, but I did Google some pictures and some reviews to kind of remember what it was like. I don't think I ever actually read it. I skimmed through it a few times, but I never really read it. But basically, it was just a magazine full of fun facts about the actress, and I think that was kind of it. So speaking of those reviews, I'm going to read some of them out, because this is kind of, how do I describe it? It was a find. Michelle Taylor says it is a must-buy. It's a verified purchase with 5 stars. This book is amazing, with many cool facts about JLaw that even some most crazy fans such as myself would probably not know and even thought about. And I appreciate Kevin, the namer of the review, 5 stars. Christmas gift. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. So Joey rated it 3 stars, said it was more of a magazine than a book, kind of just chalked it up to some stuff about like YouTube clips, just, you know, personality tests. I think there was like her favorite color in there. Shout out to Mary Kate from about 7 years ago. She rated it 4 stars. It just said Jen. And then we have the person with their profile picture as Walter White that says, I like this book, 5 stars. What? Was this a good purchase? No. Will I think about this until the day I die? Most certainly. Okay, moving on. I assume most people within my age group are familiar with the popular series Magic Tree House, but have you considered the French version? It's pretty much the same, except the illustrations are different, better in my opinion. And they're in French, and the French is easy to read, relatively so. I took French immersion in school, and I swear most of my classmates were reading this book series well into junior high for like our mandatory reading portion of the course, because it was easy and there was pictures on every other page. Also, I think the weirdest things I ever read or watched in school were from my French courses, so the safest bet was to just take something that was translated from English, because it would be more normal. And that's saying a lot for this series. Because although the Magic Treehouse series slapped, let's just pause to think about what they were doing. First of all, they were going to like frozen New York and hanging out with a unicorn, and the next thing they're out in like medieval France, trying not to catch the plague or like introduce some kind of weird hybrid disease. Like, let's just think about, first of all, after about 20 trips or so, they didn't get like killed by a samurai. Like they're still alive and they still keep going to do it. But then also think about how many near-death situations they've been in. Because almost every book has that tension of like, oh my god, they're gonna get killed. How much therapy do they need? How are they still fully functioning? How have they not been crippled by the debt of therapy at this point? I don't know how they do it. And on the topic of Loki, how does this not mess up with the timeline? Like, they're going back into time, messing something up. Probably not terribly, but they're still there, messing with things. And then they go back, everything's fine. How is there not like a branching timeline? The TVA. Some kind of weird butterfly effect. Am I reading too far into a children's series? Yes, I am. Yes, but to be fair, I did think about this when I was in junior high, when I was too old to be reading these books anyways, so I feel like my point stands. Okay, last on the list, we've got Scaredy Squirrel. This was a Canadian book. It slapped. Was it weird? No, it wasn't, but it definitely prolonged some bad behaviors. The main character is Scaredy Squirrel, who is scared of everything, so it's aptly named. And because the squirrel is scared of everything, he doesn't go outside. This book was read to me literally all the time. We covered this so many times in elementary school. Subs, just regular teachers. It was so good. I went out and actually bought the trilogy when I was a kid at the Scholastic Book Fair, which is why it's partially included in this video. It was great, except the big lesson, the big message at the end. Squirrel sometimes goes outside and plays dead. That's the solution. He goes out and plays dead, so the things that scare him can't hurt him. And he does that for maybe an hour, 2 hours maybe, and then he comes back inside and lives his life without any regrets. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, this might have subconsciously triggered something. Mainly, if something gives you so much anxiety, just ignore it, and then it'll be fine. And then even if you do, just play dead for a bit, and then the problem goes away, and then you don't really have to go outside or do anything. Although the message is for people to be encouraged to go outside of their comfort zone for a little bit. Just try something, because what you're worried about is probably just in your head, and you're being a big wussy about it. I didn't necessarily take that message away. Or at least I don't think so. I don't know what Tiny Amanda was thinking. You know, thinking of it, that kind of goes for everything on this list. Well, I think that pretty much covers my whole list of things from the Scholastic Book Fair. I mean, I asked one of my friends if they could remember anything weird from like the Canadian book fairs, and then she just told me that she stole stuff and just operated a big theft scheme from there. Maybe this was kind of detrimental to our development.
Thank you for that contribution, Amanda Hardman of the Amanda Hardman YouTube channel. This video wouldn't be the same without you. It's always interesting to look back on our childhood memories with mature eyes. At least, as mature as you can be when you still giggle at yo mama jokes. School book fair books were certainly a staple of all of our childhoods, and though they may range from the good to the bad to the incredibly odd, they all share a special place within our hearts.
Well, that was actually really fun.
Yes, actually I would have to agree. We should do this more often.
What, the breaking into your video part? Oh, that was super easy. I barely left any evidence of breaking and entering.
That's not disturbing at all. Changing the subject, I think that's going to be the end of today's video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and I sincerely hope we made your day just that little bit better. A link to Amanda's channel is in the description and on the end screen, and with the little button thing in the description, as well as Amanda's channel. There's also links to my social media and my Discord server and my second channel, which has highlights from my Twitch. I'm uploading VODs of most of my streams, as well as highlight videos, you know, stuff like that. Subscribe to Amanda and to me if you haven't already. You have to. It's the law. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
See you next time. Well, howdy. So stupid.